World, how are you? Welcome to the Super T Podcast Show. So I put an intention out today about the healing of my injured legs to be a smooth process, and I came upon the awareness of these items that are supposed to help with the hips. Um, and I've never even heard of these items before, but they're pretty pricey. They're pretty pricey. Um, so my goal is to get my hip position correctly. Now I know this right here shows the hips red, which may make you think that they are not positioned correctly, but those are actually where the hips are supposed to be at. The way they're supposed to be positioned into the pelvis is at 132 degrees, and mine's is at 190, which means they're not positioned properly. And I'm wondering if one of these items, well, maybe two, would help position my hip correctly. This can be used without surgery. Even though some people use it after surgery. My goal is to pull the hip down to where it's supposed to be pulled to, which this looks like this actually may achieve that, because this looks like it's adjustable. So it does look like it's able to, the height is adjustable on both parts. But if I put this tightly where it needs to go and then adjust it, gently pull it, it might do the job. It might do the job. I'm going to look more into it. They're definitely not cheap, though. And it looks like I can only do one at a time. But the fact that it's adjustable gives me faith. With obviously some help putting it on, I could get these hips of mine where they're supposed to be at. This is part of my journey, people. Definitely work in progress. I guess I can only do one at a time. I'm going to do some more research before I make this investment. But maybe it's something like I could sleep in, or I don't know. Chiropractic is doing pretty good. PT, in regards to strengthening, yes. Lengthening, no. Muscles have to lengthen and strengthen. Let me show you guys what my hips are. So this is a picture of a recent MRI that I had. So they're not all the way wrong, but they need to be. I don't know if I could circle it, probably not. But see where it's at. Don't worry about that pin. That pin is gonna be there, because they're not gonna dig it out. So it's like essentially my bone jewelry. But yeah, the way the bone is, it's up too much. It should be more down. And it almost looks like the left is better positioned than the right. And the left is right on the screen, and the right is left on the screen. Um, so you see how one is slanted and one is not as slanted? They both should be slanted, but they should be slanted more downward so that they're not hitting the top of the socket, which is what they're doing now. So they need to kind of be like pulled out of the socket a little bit, not out of the socket, but reposition in the socket is the proper word. And some space needs to be in between the head of the femur and I know this is not very clear because this is my cell phone, but it's very close to the, so it's almost like bone on bone. These bones need to, I know it's not a clear picture, but they need to separate some, if that makes sense. They need to separate. And so, yep. I'm not grunting for the heck of it. I'm grunting because of the pain, people. And people are always like so unaware. They're just like, are you okay? And I'm just like, yep, I'm a work in progress. If you don't see me, it is probably because I'm resting. Because this is it's such a it's such a multi-dimensional thing that's happening, you know, like I have to make sure I have the right nutrients. I'm not just focused on the bones. Around the bones there's all these muscles too, you know. Let's check them out. So here we are. Several pictures. I'm gonna go for this one. This one looks like it's more elaborate. So all of these muscles, all of my adductor muscles, pectineus, my psoas major, my iliopsoas, this one right here, the gracilis. Oh no, that's a sartorius. That's sartorius muscle. All of those muscles. My ilio, ilioshibo, what is that? Ilioshibo band. Yeah, all of that. Because adduction, I think I'm more okay on. It's the abduction part, which is moving the leg outward. That needs work. So again, I'm doing things, taking the supplements, working on building these muscles. But these muscles also need to lengthen so that they can move in the way they need to move, people. That's a lot of muscles, a lot of big muscles too. So again, if you hear me grunting, I'm doing simple things. And what you may think is simple, like putting on your shoes, tying your shoes, those things are tasks for me. When I drop something, it's like, oh the heck, what the fuck? Because now it's going to be a whole workout to pick it up because of these muscles tight, weak, like especially these ones right here, these groin muscles were weak. They're just building up. My adductor magnus, my adductor longus, my gracilis, my iliopsoas, my psoas, all of those muscles are just building up, people. So this is part of my journey. right now, and it's tricky. It's tricky doing. If it's tricky moving, you know it's tricky doing housework. You know it's tricky traveling. You know, walking. Again, putting on my shoes, tying my shoes. I got to tie my shoes before I put them on right now. Stretching, but I do have tools. Let's see. Let's